Everybody, what is up? I'm Emily and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is one that is desperately needed. So when starting out my channel on this path to raising awareness about having an ostomy and all that kind of stuff, I guess I kind of skipped over the fact that a lot of people don't know what an ostomy is, and part of raising awareness about an ostomy lifestyle or life with a chronic illness, life with invisible illness, life with inflammatory bowel disease, irritable bowel syndrome, anything like that, starts with knowing the disease in the first place, and knowing, you know, kind of the medical side of it. So many of you, literally hundreds of people have asked, and I've answered it many times, but I figured here's one video I can direct people to in the past, in the present, in the future. Go watch this video. If you don't know what an ostomy is, you don't know what UC or Crohn's disease is, you don't know what I'm talking about, here's the video for you. Like, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment down below asking me any type of questions, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So starting off, irritable bowel syndrome and inflammatory bowel disease are two very different things. I'm not going to go so much into that in this video because that is a video in and of itself that I'm planning, or I know people have done it before. You can look it up on YouTube, but those are two different things. Irritable bowel syndrome is not inflammatory bowel disease. They are very different. So in the category of inflammatory bowel disease, there is ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, and then I'm sure there are plenty others, but ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease are the two that I am most familiar with. I actually just decided that I'm going to move over, that way I have room to insert pictures here. So, ulcerative colitis is what I was diagnosed with in 2013. Any autoimmune disease, but Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis in particular, attacks your body. So for ulcerative colitis and Crohn's, your body is attacking your digestive system. Now, for Crohn's disease, it is much more severe, and it can literally start at your lips and end at your butthole. So it is your entire digestive tract, from esophagus, mouth, stomach, small intestine, colon, rectum, anal canal, all of it. Now, there are varying degrees of these things, but most people with Crohn's disease, the differentiating factor is the small intestine involvement. Ulcerative colitis is only in your colon and your rectum. It also is a differentiating factor between the two that there's a thick wall, and there are different layers to that wall. I'll insert a picture here of your colon and digestive system. Ulcerative colitis just deals with the inner layer of your colon and rectum. Crohn's disease affects all the layers of your colon, rectum, mouth, esophagus, your whole digestive system. I've seen a lot of misconceptions about whether or not you can have ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease at the same time, and I've actually asked my surgeon and several other doctors about this, and the answer is flat up no. That is like having your hair all one color and then going in and saying, I want highlights in the same color as my head. Okay, well, that's not highlights because your whole head is that color. Does that make sense? So you can't have ulcerative colitis because Crohn's disease affects all those layers, including that inner layer that only people with UC deal with. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And there's probably someone out there, aka a doctor or another medical professional, I'm not, I'm just a patient that deals with this, that could explain this better to you. Hopefully I'm explaining it okay. So then from there, how I got my ostomy is my body was attacking my colon so heavily that no amount of medication could stop my immune system from doing that. And what actually happened to me, I think, is a different case than most. I had very mild ulcerative colitis. In my previous videos, you will see that I was never on medication. I never needed to be. I didn't believe in medication, and it was never really an issue for me. I went on with my day-to-day life just fine. Sometimes I forgot I even had ulcerative colitis. So in January, and you'll see this in my video where I explain why I got my colon out and the whole story of that first surgery, I was diagnosed with a disease called Henoch-Schönlein purpura. otherwise known as HSP. HSP is another autoimmune disease where your immune system is once again confused, but this time it attacks your small blood vessels in your legs, your GI tract, and your joints. So the fact that I was in a flare in this moment from my ulcerative colitis, my body was actively attacking my colon at this moment, and now my body, because of this other disease, is attacking the small blood vessels in my GI tract, my colon just couldn't bear. So after spending a long time in the hospital, some in the ICU, living in excruciating pain, my doctors would do 2 x-rays a day, one in the morning, one in the evening, where they would bring the x-ray to me because I obviously couldn't get out of bed, and they would see what the inflammation looked like as far as an x-ray piece goes. So any part of this has to be diagnosed. I didn't say this, but ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease has to be diagnosed through a colonoscopy. It cannot be diagnosed only by a stool sample. I've seen Sarah Ringer actually brought this up in her diagnosed video, where when she was little they had her go in, and she says this too, that you can't diagnose it just by a stool sample or symptoms. You have to go in and do a colonoscopy, or some people have an upper endoscopy to see if something else is going on. Just wanted to throw that out there. This is not self-diagnosing. Was rushed into emergency surgery to have an ostomy placed because if I waited any longer, my body would have attacked my colon so severely that it would have ripped open, ruptured, or perforated, which is all the same thing. It kind of rips open, which spills bacteria, and I wasn't eating for like 2 weeks before this, so there really wasn't any stool, but you go into sepsis, and sepsis is not something to mess around with. People die from sepsis. Several people that I know that have lived from being in sepsis end up being in the hospital for like 90 days afterwards and are in terrible shape. So that was obviously something we didn't want to push any further. So on February 20th, they rushed me into emergency surgery and took out my colon. So when you take out your colon, and I'll have some other videos explaining ostomies down below, but an ostomy is when they remove your intestine. So a colostomy is when they remove your small intestine and your colon is attached, and they pull your colon through your stomach, through your abdominal wall. For me, I had an ileostomy where I no longer had a colon, and when you don't have a colon, there's nothing to sit and hold that stool before it gets expelled. So your colon and your rectum act as muscles that hold that stool and collect it in a little pouch. Your rectum is like a pouch inside of you, right? Like inside your butthole. And inside that pouch, it holds your stool until you've collected enough for it to be expelled. So if you had just taken the bottom of my small intestine that they clipped off from the colon and just attach it to my butthole, I would have no control. It doesn't work like that. So they have to pull it through your stomach, and that is called an ileostomy. So when you have an ileostomy, you have to wear what is called a wafer. Because there is no control with an ileostomy, I couldn't control when it pooped as much as I wish that I could have. So you put on a wafer, which is like a sticker, which you see me put on in my chit chat changing my ostomy bag video. This is not a Band-Aid, this is not a sticker. This is a very, very, very sticky adhesive that sticks on your skin. You cut a hole around where your stoma is, because your stoma is a little red. I mean, it's a piece of not a piece, it is your intestine that they've pulled through, and it's like a circle. Some of them are oval, they're all different shapes. Everybody's ostomy is different. My first one, I'll insert a picture here, was pretty small. So you pull that through and you stick on the wafer, and then there's a round clip on it. I'll insert some photos, and then you attach the bag to the clip. Does that make sense? So then the bag clicks on, and then it poops out into the bag. You empty the bag several times a day like you would empty out your butt, and you're good to go. Now, the reason you have to have this wafer attached to you is because your stool, when you don't have a colon, is very, very toxic. Your colon pulls out a lot of that water and a lot of those toxins and bacteria. So when you don't have that anymore to pull that out, your stool is very, very toxic. I mean, even leaving it on your skin for 30 seconds leaves your skin really red and irritated. And so you want to make sure that you're keeping that wafer on and tight around that stoma so that it doesn't dump out onto your skin, which is what actually ended up happening with my second stoma. So the reason I had to have a second stoma is because I chose to go with a Jpouch. Now a Jpouch is a fake, artificial, reconstructed rectum that they make from your small intestine. So I'm going to use this as an example. So imagine that this is your small intestine. Originally, this is the part that is sticking out of me. So what they do is they take this and they kink it to kind of look like a J, if you can see that. So they kind of kink it like this, and of course I'll insert some photos here of what it looks like. And then they cut the bottom of it and attach that cut part to your butthole, and that's how you go. So by the way that they form this Jpouch and suture and cut the small intestine, it teaches, in a sense, the small intestine to now act as a rectum and to hold stool until you are ready to expel it. Obviously, it does take some time to learn what that sensation feels like and learn how to go to the bathroom again. I didn't go to the bathroom for 6 months, so it kind of took me a minute to readjust to things and refigure out how to do that. Now, the reason it has to be done in 2 steps is because when your Jpouch is formed, okay, I didn't clarify this before. So when your Jpouch is formed, it has to heal before it can be used. They want to make sure that all those sutures really hold in the J and that everything is tight, because if you start to use it and there's a leak, you once again go into sepsis and you can die. So they want to make sure that that is all healed. They want to give it a chance to heal before it has to be used. So in that process, what they do is higher up in the small intestine, they'll kink your small intestine, stick that through the layers of your like this, stick that through the layers of your stomach, and then kind of, I guess, cut it so that a hole is made. Once again, lots of pictures will be inserted. I know this is really confusing. I have this and it's confusing sometimes for me. I've done a lot of research. So moving on. So then once your Jpouch is healed, normally they give you about 8 to 12 weeks to let that heal. They'll do what's called a high-pake enema. So they'll have you lay underneath an x-ray machine, and they'll stick like a little catheter up your butthole, and they will pump water and contrast into your pouch slowly. It doesn't hurt. It wasn't I mean, it was a little uncomfortable, but it didn't hurt at all. And they just fill it up while the doctor looks at the x-ray and makes sure that there's no leaking, make sure that the bag is filling, that your Jpouch is feeling okay, and that there's, you know, no issues. It's expanding like it's supposed to when stool is going to be dropping down into it. So then my final surgery is where they basically take that intestine back inside your body, reconnect those 2 parts that they've kinked, and make a full, your small intestine down to your Jpouch is all connected now. So this is a very long and extensive process. It's very painful, and it's not something that I think a lot of people know about. I definitely didn't. I had ulcerative colitis, and I knew that this could happen to me, but I wasn't even informed about what any of this was. So I think for me, moving forward, spreading awareness about an ostomy and all of this realm of GI issues and chronic illness, it's important to me that people are informed about what this stuff actually is. Once again, I know that it is really confusing, and sometimes people who get an ostomy, it's not always because of a disease. Some people go in for regular surgery and their bowel ends up getting nicked, and so they have to do a temporary ostomy to let those bowels rest from being injured during surgery. Some people who have ulcerative colitis, but their doctors feel that their colon can be saved with a little bit of rest, are given a temporary ileostomy once again to let that colon heal so it doesn't have to be used, so it can, you know, kind of settle down with medication. And then once the doctor feels that their colon is ready, they put the ostomy back, they put your small intestine back inside, and they hook you up. So there are a lot of different scenarios that surround this, but at the end of the day, the message I want to get across is that living with an ostomy is not easy. It definitely does get easier. You get adjusted to it, you figure out a new lifestyle, a new way of life, but at no point is it easy. And here's my thing too, is I think that it's been misconstrued in a lot of my videos, my emotions about a bag. I am very grateful for my bag. I am forever indebted to my ostomy, to my surgeons who have helped me through this. I don't deserve the grace that I have been given and the second chance at life. But people, I think, have misconstrued that as my new opinion on the bag as being ungrateful or hating on the bag, as a lot of people have said, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. I think now that I'm on the other side, I do forget, to be honest, how hard it was to deal with that. But at no point am I hating on the bag or looking down on it. I wouldn't be making videos and spending my time raising awareness about a bag if I didn't care about the people who have them. With that being said, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who takes the time out of your day to watch my videos. If you are coming to this video for the first time and you haven't seen any of my other videos, then go to my channel, watch all those videos. I have a ton of ostomy videos explaining my story and raising awareness for others as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate each and every one of you that does. Leave a comment down below letting me know your video request, or leave me a question you may have after watching this video. I'm sure some of you still have so many questions. Leave a comment down below letting me know those questions, and let me know if you want me to answer it right then and there in the comment section, or if you want me to save it for a future Q&A. The Q&A videos have been really helpful, I think. So, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you that does, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!